Everybody, welcome. Today for this Anity seminar, we are very happy to. I'm very happy to introduce Frédéric Barbaresco, which is currently working in the head of Thales. Which part?
Learn on Air System.
Yes, Learn and System. Frédéric is graduate from Supélec in the 19. I don't remember exactly the year. He's working on learning with some geometric structure. He had the academic Sciences Académiques, l'Académie des Sciences in France prize in 2014.
Academy of Sciences. Academy of
Yes.
Sciences prize.
Okay, Academy of Sciences. In 2014 for his very nice work on barycenter in some very nice remaining space. And he will today talk about some geometric structure and learning. Good.
Thank you.
Excuse me, but can you, for people who are not presenting, can you please check that you are mute? Because I hear a noise. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex, for reminding us.
Okay, so I would like to thank the organizer and also Fabrice to invite me in Toulouse. So my talk is about elementary geometry structure of information, statistical physics and inference for learning. So it is a very interdisciplinary talk between people from information theory, from statistical physics, and from machine learning. And I will try to illustrate with some application for drone recognition on Doppler and kinematic signature. And the two heroes of my talk will be Jean-Marie Souriau and Jean-Louis Cauzoul, which was graduated from École Normale Supérieure in Paris in 1940 and 1942. And they have worked both on some elementary structures, Jean-Louis Cauzoul on homogeneous bounded domain based on previous work of Élie Cartan, and Jean-Marie Souriau because he has introduced his geometric tools in mechanics and in statistical mechanics. So this is the summary, so I will switch off. So for people which are not familiar with this advanced tool, we have made with Frank Nilsson a very simple introducing paper in Tangente in special issues on which is dedicated to information geometry. So I invite you to look at this paper, which is very simple to read. For people who are more interested by mathematical models, we have organized last June at École de Physique des Houches a seminar which was dedicated to joint structure on common foundation of statistical physics, information geometry, and inference for learning. And with Frank Nilsson, we will publish soon the proceedings in Springer Proceedings in Mathematics and Statistics. So if you are interested, this book will be available soon. This is an historical seminar, not because due to the content, but because we succeed to make a face-to-face meeting during the COVID period. So you have also the web link on. We have a YouTube channel of Les Houches. You can see the video. So what is the idea of this seminar at Les Houches is to make a connection between different communities, people working on thermodynamics, classical thermodynamics, people working on mathematical physics or statistical physics, people working on information geometry, and people coming from the Lie group representation theory. So especially Cauzoul and Souriau. In information geometry, you have some seminal work by Maurice Fréchet, and also the work of Fréchet, Shannon, Kramer, Rao, Chentsov, Amari. In statistical physics, you have Poincaré, Planck, Langevin, Carreau-Théodory, Brillouin, Callen, Balian. On thermodynamic, which is more classical, with Carnot, Clausius, Massieu, Helmholtz, Boltzmann, Gibbs, and Duhem. So the two heroes are Jean-Louis Cossul and Jean-Marie Souriau. This is a very famous picture of a 1973 conference on geometry differential in Strasbourg. So I think that all mathematicians would like to would be happy to attend this meeting, because if you see all the name of you have Ereshman, Nishnerowitz, Lieberman, Schwarz, so all the big name of geometry of this period, and you have two young students, or just after graduated, Jean-Louis Cossul and Jean-Marie Souriau. Just for... Sorry? Just an advertisement. We will organize in July a conference. This is the fifth edition, which is called GSI, Geometric Science of Information, that will take place in Sorbonne University and co-organized with SKY Sorbonne, Sorbonne Center for Artificial Intelligence, and Paris ELIS unit, which is a cluster of labs in Paris. And you will have two dedicated sessions, one on geometric deep learning by Eric Beckers and Gabriel Perret, and one on Lie group machine learning by myself. And we have invited Max Welling from Amsterdam University. So in my talk, there is two topics related to Lie group and machine learning. The first one is geometric deep learning. So I will not address this topic, but very little, but which is related to Lie group equivariant convolutional neural network. And my topic of today is more on Lie group machine learning, when you try to make machine learning on Lie group or on homogeneous manifold. That means that a group acts transitively on a manifold. So Lie group machine learning is an emerging topic. You have a first Chinese book published in 2019, Lie group machine learning. And we have organized a special issue of Entropy on this topic, Lie group machine learning and Lie group structure preserving integrators. The work is based on a seminal work of Jean-Marie Souriau, but it's very difficult to read the book of Souriau because he has used his own notation, which are not the classical one. Professor Charles-Michel Marbre helped me to improve the understanding of this model. So if you are interested, Charles-Michel Marbre has recently published on arXiv very good papers, which is called On Gibbs State of Mechanical System with Symmetries. And you have the address on arXiv to find the paper. So I invite you to read this paper. Just to start on Lie group machine learning, about geometric deep learning, geometric deep learning. I give you the reference of a talk of Pierre-Yves Lagrave from Thales, given yesterday at GDRISIS workshop on menaces de sécurité sur l'apprentissage profond, who is testing robustness and vulnerability for Lie group equivariant neural network.
Excuse me, for people who are not presenting, can you please
Elkis and Alwyn, turn off your mics. Thank you.
So if you are not familiar with equivariant convolutional neural network, is to develop some deep learning network based on some transformation, so translation, rotation. And so the group which is involved is SE2, special Euclidean group, which is a mix of rotation and translation. And so the idea is to develop deep learning networks with this property of equivariance. So it's related to the definition of convolutional operator on generalization to a generic group of transform. And so you will have a feature maps that will build from generalized convolution, which are equivalent to the corresponding group action. And you could build this kind of geometric deep learning. You have some references. It has been introduced by Max Welling and Bakers in Netherlands. I know it's very popular because they have proved that it is more robust, and also Pierre-Yves Lagrave is working on this topic, but it's more robust relative to vulnerability of classical deep neural network. So I will not develop a lot, but I invite you to go to the website of GDR ISIS on the talk of yesterday of Pierre-Yves Lagrave from Thales on how to develop and to test robustness of this kind of neural networks. So my talk is more on Lie group machine learning, which is different. So Lie group is involved, but it's different. We want to make machine learning on Lie groups. So our data are Lie groups or are points on homogeneous manifold. On the main question is what is the hidden geometric structures of learning behind this Lie group machine learning? And you have two basic tools, which are Lie group representation theory and information geometry and statistical manifold. So what is interesting, because it opens the door to many applications, many new applications in robotics or to apply machine learning in a more abstract space, because many people are working on deep learning on images, but I think that you have reached an asymptotic bound of performances, and so which are more limited by the bias and error of human labelization. So the idea is to develop new application on more structured data in the coding space. So it could be a graph. So what is very popular for the time being is hyperbolic embedding geometry. So it is used in NLP, natural language processing, to embed a graph in Rn, a client space of dimension n, in the Poincaré unit disk. Other application is directly that you have data which live on Lie groups, and you want to make machine learning on this data. And so the good tool, as I will present you, is based on Souriau theorem, that when you have a group, you can associate to this group a symplectic manifold, which is associated to the coadjoint orbit. So you will no longer try to make machine learning on Lie groups. You will make machine learning on homogeneous symplectic manifold. Okay, and there is a last link that we have discovered that was developed also during the 90s, that it is closely linked to Liouville completely integrable system on statistical manifold. So you have a link between information geometry and completely integrable system. So why Lie group? I think Lie group is very simple. It's a very natural theory. It has been developed first to be independent of the coordinate system. You capture all the symmetries of your problem, so you can reduce the dimensionality of your problem. You preserve the invariance with respect to all transformation, and it is coordinate free, and it could be intrinsic, and to study dynamics, it's very interesting. So this is a personal history of machine learning. So in 1990, in Japan, Professor Amari has introduced natural gradient in machine for a small neural network using Fisher metric, which is a structure which is coming from information geometry. And the main property of this gradient is that it is independent of the coordinate system. But the main difficulty was to extend for deep learning, because when you have more parameters, it's very difficult to estimate the Fisher metrics. And so in 2016 at Orsay Laboratory, Yann Olivier and Gaëtan Marceau-Caron has developed a robust natural gradient for deep learning. And in 2070s, they have extended mixing with stochastic Langevin gradient, and they call that natural Langevin dynamics, which is a mix of Langevin gradient from a stochastic gradient and natural gradient from information geometry. So now you could see that people try to make deep learning on graph or on deep learning on Lie group. So the main objective is to develop a theory for Lie group machine learning. Why also Lie group is important? For the time being, we are interested by machine learning for recognition, for instance, which is related to cognitive intelligence. But if you make the comparison with humans, the first intelligence is also motion intelligence. We start to learn space by Lie group structure and invariance of Lie group structures and move in it by Lie algebra structure. And before learning, to recognize, so we have to learn space and to move in this space before learning object in this space. So, so I am old now. So my hero is also McEnroe. So I think that McEnroe is very intelligent. It's motion intelligence. I try to make the make movement McEnroe I never succeed. And so you have also intelligence in motion. This is also true for war. In Thales, we are interested by warfare system. So you have decision theory and also action theory. But more technically, in cognitive intelligence, it's related to smart sensor with object recognition for observe, and decision aid for abstraction, understanding, and reasoning for what we call orient in military domain. But you have also to close the loop for motion intelligence, so related to decide for robotics, motion planning, swarming, and also to act for guidance, navigation, and control. So we call this loop in military domain OODA for observation, orientation, decision, and action. And GAFA are not very motivated by this loop because you are the last layer of this loop. You act when you like on internet something. You have the interconnection with the real world. This slide is more prospective, but if you look at the history of computational machine, so you could start with Pascal, but if we start with Boole algebra, so you have Steve Beatts in Bell has developed the first machine based on Boole algebra. Now we are mainly based on linear algebra, and TensorFlow is also on Google TPU. Is finally a linear algebra processing machine. So the question, if we succeed to develop machine learning in Lie group, that we have other structure of algebra, which is the Lie algebra, could we develop a machine which is based on this computational structure? You have a very good PhD in École Polytechnique in 1993, supervised by Pierre Cartier on calcul formel pour les méthodes de Lie en mécanique hamiltonienne, which address this kind of problem. And we could go further with what is called Lie superalgebra, which has been developed by Berezin. So we see that this computation, which are lead to new algebra, could also make a disruption in computational machine. It's not very evident to make popular this kind of algorithms. So there is a very good initiative launched by Xavier Pennec in Real Sofia, and also with his previous PhD student, Nina Miolan. They have launched a library in Python, which is called JumpStats. It's a Python library for machine learning on Lie group on differential manifold. You have a good paper on HAL, on arXiv, and you have a GitHub. And for all our conference now, we try to make an event with this. And so for the next conference in Sorbonne, you will have some parallel session dedicated to this library. But I invite you to test. So some of PhD students from Thales are participating to this library. So what is our problem? I will try to illustrate for Thales how this tool could be used. So one problem is, for example, drone recognition by their micro Doppler signature on kinematic signature. So I will give you first the state of the art, which is based on a PhD by Daniel Brooks on a joint work with my colleague Yanni Ziani, Jean-Yves Schneider, and Claude Annay. And then I will introduce Lie group machine learning for this problem. So what is a Doppler signature? You have a time Doppler frequency signature of drone, which are generated by the blades of the drone. If you have an helicopter, quadrupter, or octopter, you have different signature. So it is a time series of complex signal in radar, and you can represent that as a time series of spectrum, Doppler spectrum, which are representative of the speed of the different blades. What is new in the PhD of Daniel Brooks, that it has been developed with Sorbonne, complex value convolutional neural networks. So we process the data, the raw data of radar, so we have a complex convolution. The idea of deep learning is to use convolutional layers. And in radar, in fact, if you think of a Doppler filter is a Fourier transform. A Fourier transform is a convolution. It is a complex convolution. And the idea is to learn this complex convolution. What is the idea behind that? If you learn the convolution, you will have more degree of freedom. So you will give more degree of freedom to the machine learning to separate, to make the separation of your data. So so to learn convolution is not good for detection and analysis, but for classification, it's very good. On the other development in Daniel Brooks' PhD is HPDNet, so Hermitian Positive Definite Network. So it is an extension of SPDNet for Symmetric Positive Definite Network, because we have a complex signal. So this is a structure developed by Daniel Brooks in his PhD. So you could see that you have different layers. The first layers are complex Fourier convolution, but with learning. So complex convolution and with different layers, which has symmetric positive definite network, but in the complex domain. So we have Hermitian positive definite networks. And we can use different architecture. And you could see that you have a different structure of the architecture. You can select different one. So, so this problem is how to extend on this structure, especially for HPDNet or SPDNet, how to make machine learning on this structure. So it is, I have no time to give the details, but the PhD will be soon available on HAL. The main idea is to use exponential map on logarithm map to make the connection between the tangent space. So you have your symmetric positive definite network are represented on some points on a manifold, and you will make the classification on the tangent space. But the main idea in the PhD of Daniel Brooks is to have a batch normalization. So you will compute a barycenter to make the classification in the tangent space. So this is some results obtained on a database from NATO, which has been done by US Air Force. So we have 7 kind of drone, also with birds. And here you have the confusion matrix. So classically, I have a video, but here it will not work, where we see the time series of Doppler spectrum, and we could recognize the different kind of drone. But the main problem is that sometimes you have not the Doppler signature because the drone is too far or because the blade are not visible. Yes, this is some performances for this kind of network, but I have no time to illustrate. But we have proved that it is more robust for frugal learning, especially with SPD or HPDNet. So when we have not information on Dopplers, the idea is to recognize drone on their kinematic. Okay, so you have some trajectory, you have to recognize between birds and drone if you have a trajectory of drone or a trajectory of a bird. So for that, we are using a simulator which has been developed in Toulouse, which is a Paparazzi UAV. It is a drone autopilot. And we have used also MoveBank. MoveBank is people studying the trajectory of animals. And we have many record of birds with 1 second update rate, which are very useful for application. So we generate with the autopilot of drone developed by ENAC different trajectory of different kind of birds. So it is an autopilot, so it's very accurate in terms of flight mechanic. And we use some trajectory of birds which have been recorded. So for the time being, we are using boosting methods. So we are not using a Lie group, which is will be the next step. But I think you are familiar with gradient boosting. So we have collaborate with Gérard Biot and Erward Cornet, which help us to find the good literature on that, and they have made also very good publication on this topic. I invite you to read their paper from Sorbonne and École Polytechnique. And the idea is to extract statistical parameters. You take a 3D trajectory. You take some statistic on the speed, the jerk, the acceleration, the torsion, the curvature. You can take L moment. You can take different order statistics, and you make learning on that. And you could see it's very efficient. We can recognize a different kind of drone and also differentiate from birds on this trajectory. So these are different probability of detection. On the curvature and torsion information could be extracted by a Kalman filter based on Lie group, which has been developed with École des Mines by Marion Pilté in his PhD with Silver Bonabel. Silver Bonabel with Marion have extended Kalman filter on Lie group. So this is ideas. I will come back later. So just to illustrate what we want to do is that for this problem on microdoppler data recognition on kinematic data, how to use Lie group. Yes, I will use that. So consider the figure on the top. You have a trajectory. Along a trajectory, you have the classical, what we call a Freinet-Serret frame. So you have the tangent vectors, the normal vector, and the binormal. You have a Freinet references frame. And between two measurements, you have a rotation and a translation of this frame. What does it mean? It means that when you have a trajectory, you have a time series of a Lie group S3. So S3 is a special Euclidean group, which is a matrix of dimension 3, where omega is related an element of the rotation SO3 of the group Lie group SO3 relative to rotation of the frame, and T is a vector which is related to the translation of the frame. Okay, so you can write SO3 on this form, which is related to Lie group representation theory. It is a matrix. So the algebra of this group is relating to the operation of these matrices. So we have convert this problem of trajectory recognition by a problem of recognition on a time series of S3 Lie group. The second example about microdoppler, you have a very famous theorem which is called Verbunski trench. Is when you have a stationary signal, your covariance matrix is Toeplitz and could be coded in a polydisk of Poincaré. So you have n-1 coefficient, which are inside the Poincaré disk, and one coefficient which is real, which is related to the power of your signal. So the problem is now to classify data in the disk of Poincaré. And in the disk of Poincaré, you have a group which acts homogeneously, which is called SU11. This is also a matrix, but a complex matrices with this constraint. Okay, so this group act on the Poincaré unit disk. So it should be quotiented by the rotation of the disk, so U1, but you have to consider this group. So one point in the polydisk could be represented by one matrix as SU11 matrices. So when you have data in the disk, you have in fact different, you have a set of SU11 matrices. So this is two examples of Lie group machine learning. You could have measurements which are directly some group, or you have an homogeneous space where a Lie group act. Okay, I will skip that. Yes. Okay, just some motivation. Your brain is working with Lie group. It's not familiar, but you have in your inner ears, you have what is called a vestibular system, which is 3 rings in the 3 axes. And in fact, your brain is the measurement of your brain, of this vestibular brain system, is related to the Lie algebra of the Galileo group, of the homogeneous Galileo group. Why? Because you have some sensors, cupule in the vestibular system, which are measuring the speed of the liquid in the vestibular system. So it's related to the Lie algebra of the group. So it's Professor Benquin, which is from working on mathematics for this problem, and Alain Bertros from Collège de France tried to put some mathematical model of that. And it is very useful because for the time being, we try to develop a visio-vestibular system, visio-inertial SLAM system for drone, how to make geolocalization and geonavigation of drone without GPS, but you are using a camera on inertial system. So you have first net which are developed like VNet, which is a visual inertial odometry, which learn on SS3 Lie group. You can use it also to recognize 3D movement. When you have an articulated 3D movement, you have, in fact, a vector of 8 SO3 Lie group, which are related to the articulation of the articulated body, and which describe the articulated movement of the body. So finally, a movement is a path on this space, which is a product space of SO3 Lie group. Or you could also consider SO3 Lie group if you also consider the relative displacement of the articulation. And you have some paper working on that to develop a neural network on this group. What is very also popular is Poincaré hyperbolic embedding in Poincaré unit disk. It is used for natural language processing. In this case, you want to embed a graph in a client space Rn in isometrically, and the idea is to embed this graph in the Poincaré unit disk. And the Poincaré unit disk is an homogeneous space where SU11 Lie group act. And so the problem is to develop neural network in this on this homogeneous manifold. And the last one, but it's very popular also, which is some idea of Jean Petitot, is that and now it has been proved with a study of the eyes. You have what is called the V1 structure in your eyes, which are sensitive to the gradient of the image, but also to the direction of the image. And so it is related to a SS2 Lie group and related what is called sub-Riemannian geometry. And we know that the eyes work in sub-Riemannian geometry with characteristic of SS3 Lie group. So in France now you have Hugo Bosquin in Paris, or also Alexandro Sartin, EHESS. They have they have a seminar at Collège de France on sum-Riemannian geometry. So the challenge, we have seen that we could modelize our problem with Lie group, and many problems could be modelized with Lie group data, but how to develop statistics on Lie group? In fact, the tools exist. They have been invented by Jean-Marie Souriau, which was graduated from École Normale Supérieure in 1940s. And he has extended the work of calculus of variation in the domain of symplectic geometry. So it is a very natural extension of tool which has been developed by Lagrange, Poisson, Poincaré, Cartan, on now Bismuth for random mechanics. Especially Souriau has proved that the structure developed by Lagrange are related to symplectic geometry. So if you are interested by Souriau work, a conference has been organized in Institut Henri Poincaré in 2019 for the 50th birthday of his book, Structure of Dynamical System. And you have a video of Jean-Pierre Bourguignon on Jean-Marie Souriau on symplectic geometry. So Souriau is not very well known by the community, but only by specialists in physics or mathematics. But he started his career at Onera, and he has proved that you can put the engine of an aircraft everywhere on the airplane. And we have made Caravelle in France, and I think that McDonnell Douglas I pay royalties to Onera due to the invention of Souriau, that we can stabilize the airplane with engine everywhere on the airplane. He has also invented an algorithms to compute the characteristic polynomial of a matrix in a 3 iteration. It's not very well known. I never learned these algorithms, but I use it now for exponential map calculation, which is very interesting for what we call geodesic shooting. It's very, so I have made a publication on these algorithms, but what I call today is about his book, Structure des systèmes dynamiques. Structure des systèmes dynamiques is very a fundamental book in physics, because he has proved that, in fact, mechanics is symplectic geometry. And in this book, so you have the introduction of symplectic geometry in mechanics. You have the invention of the moment map, application moment in French. It is a geometrization of Noether theorem. What is a Noether theorem in calculus of variation? When you have a symmetry in your problem calculus of variation, you have some invariant. On the moment map, the component of the moment map are the invariant of the Noether theorem. So Noether theorem is an algebraic theorem, but the moment map is a geometric object. And why I read this book? I read this book because I read that he has discovered that the total mass of an isolated dynamic system is a class of cohomology of the default of equivariance of the moment map. So it looks complicated, but it's just to say that the mass is not an arbitrary value. It is related to the Lie group acting on the system. So it gives to the mass a geometric definition. And chapter 4 was not read during this period because it was on statistical mechanics. And the people who have read this book during this period were people from mechanics, not from statistical physics, so it's not very well known. So with Charles-Michel Marle, we try to popularize this chapter 4 of this book. It's difficult to explain the main idea of Souriau, but I will use only the 2 first lines. You are very familiar with the Newton system, so you have here the force, and here this is the equation of Newton. But you can rewrite this equation by 2 first-order equations, and you could associate a Pfaffian system in a system of coordinates that Souriau called evolution space, with the time, the position, and the speed. And if you have geometer, you can recognize this system of equation as related to foliation. And so Souriau has developed what is called an antisymmetric covariant second-order tensor, which is associated to the mechanic. So he has proved that Newton mechanics is in fact related to foliation on symplectic geometry. On what group he was interested is the Galilean group. So what is Galilean group? When you have a system in classical mechanics, the coordinate system is transformed by this transformation. You have a rotation, R, a boost, U, on a space translation, W. And you have a time translation, E. But the idea of Lie group representation theory is to represent this transformation by a matrix transformation where you have, so this is the same two equations, right, in this way as a matrix operation. And this matrix is a Lie group. It is called the Galileo group. So what is, okay, so there is some seminal work by Galisso, but I have no time to explain. I will try to give you the main idea, because the main idea are very simple, but the mathematics are more complex. So what the idea of Lie group thermodynamic. So the idea of Souriau is to apply his theory of Lie groups to thermodynamic system. Why? Because he has observed that a classical thermodynamic is not covariant under the action of the Galileo group. Okay? If you make thermodynamic experience in your lab, you have only the time translation. But if you make what is called butter, so classically we make butter with a centrifuge, Bohr-Barat. In fact, you have a subgroup of the Galileo group acting on the system, and the equilibrium, the Gibbs state, should be covariant. And so he has proved that to develop this theory, he has to introduce a new concept of temperature, which will be an element of the Lie algebra of the group. So it means that the temperature is no longer a scalar, but you have few components. So the first one will be a scalar. It will be the classical, so in fact, Planck temperature, the inverse of temperature. It's related to classical thermodynamics. But when you have a centrifuge, you have another invariant, which is the angular momentum. And so you need an additional Lagrange hyperparameter to describe this thermodynamic. And this composition of the different elements of hyperparameters is grouped in a structure, and he proves that it is an element of the Lie algebra of the group. But he has also extended the definition of entropy, because he says that it is a Legendre transform of the logarithm of Laplace transform, so we will see after, but he gives a general definition of entropy. So it's very interesting because if you want to develop like a Gauss density and to generalize Gauss density, the basic definition of Gauss density, it is a density of maximum entropy. So if you want to generalize Gauss density, you have to generalize first definition of entropy. What I have discovered, in fact, in reading this paper, that what is more interesting is that he has generalized the Fisher metric, which is the bedrock of information geometry. And he has also interpreted this Fisher metric as a geometric calorific capacity. But so what is very important in Souriau, which is very popular in physics, you want to write your equation intrinsically, independent of the system of coordinates, and you are looking for, in this case, covariant Gibbs density. So I will not make all the history of Lie group. It is from Lie and Klein and Poincaré and Liegel and so on. But we have to rewrite this paper in the framework of the work of Souriau to try to develop this Lie group machine learning. Just some few words on information geometry. If you are not popular, are not aware of this theory, it was developed by Rao in his paper of 1945. But it was also, you have also a seminal paper of Maurice Fréchet in 1939. but it was not a very good period to write paper. So he has only make the paper publication in 1943, but before Rao. So the idea is when you build a statistical estimator, the covariance matrices, the non-biased covariance matrices, is bounded inferiorly by the inverse of the matrix, which is called the Fisher information matrices. What are looking Rao? Rao tried to look for a density, a distance between density of probability, which is invariant by change of parametrization. So it's very simple. He tried to compute the Kullback-Leiber divergence between density of probability parameterized by theta and density of probability parameterized by theta plus d theta. You make a Taylor expansion, the first term cancel, and the second term is as a structure of a Riemannian geometry. So you have the Fisher metric is related to a Fisher metric. If you compute that for a Gaussian, you have two parameters, the mean and the standard deviation. You compute the Fisher matrix, one the inverse of sigma 2 and the 2 on sigma 2. You compute the metric of Fisher. And if you have a geometer, you recover, you find that this metric is the metric of the upper half plane of Poincaré. So why is that? Because the mean is real, the standard deviation is positive, so you have the half plane. And so the natural metric, we recover the natural metric of this space, which is the metric of Poincaré. So you have just to read the paper of Poincaré and you can't integrate. So the technique of Poincaré is to come from the upper half plane to the Poincaré disk for integration. So what is the idea is that one Gaussian could be represented by one point in the Poincaré disk, another Gaussian by another point in the Poincaré disk, and so the distance between two Gaussian will be the geodesic in the Poincaré disk. So you have the formula of Poincaré for Gaussian. So the two distance between the two natural Gaussian, natural distance between two Gaussian in information geometry is the geometry of Poincaré. So this has been done for machine learning. So classical in machine learning, you try to optimize a gradient relative to a loss function, which is defined by the density of probability. And during the 90s, Shun Amari has developed what he calls a natural gradient. He has observed that if you multiply here by the inverse of the Fisher matrices, this gradient is independent of the coordinated system. You have a full intrinsic gradient. But the main difficulty was to extend that. It works for a small neural network, but if you have a deep neural network, it's very difficult to estimate the Fisher matrix and to inverse. So during the 2070s and 2016 and 70s, Yann Olivier and Gaëtan Marceau-Caron has developed extension for deep learning of this natural gradient. And they have also coupled with the Langevin dynamic, and they call that natural Langevin dynamic. And we give them the best paper of our conference because it was very disruptive. So just to what are the geometric structures that Suryo extended behind this geometry of information geometry? Here you have the structure. In fact, you have the logarithm of the Laplace transform. So in statistics, it's called the generating function of cumulant. And if you take the Hessian, you have a metric, you recover the Fisher metric. So the Fisher metric is the Hessian of the minus log of the Laplace transform. So in thermodynamics, this function is called Massieu function, which is from the engineer of Cordemine, François Massieu, who has discovered that in thermodynamics. So you have these relations, you have a Legendre transform between the entropy and the characteristic function. So in statistic, between statistic and thermodynamics, you have a log between what one sum call a characteristic function. But so the Legendre transform of the function phi is the Shannon entropy. If you make the computation, you will recover the Shannon entropy. So it's very interesting because this is a new definition of entropy. The entropy is the Legendre transform of the log of the Laplace transform. So it's a French definition because you have Legendre on Laplace, so it's only based on the French tool. So you have two dual system of coordinates, nabla and theta, and you have this Legendre transform. If you are not familiar with the Legendre transform, when you have a convex function, you take the tangent and you have a point along the y-axis, and so you will coordinate your convex function by the enveloping by taking the tangent of this convex function. This is a geometric interpretation in R2. Jean-Louis Cossul has extended this tool for any what is called a sharp convex cone. So previously we have integrated on R or Rn. Here you can integrate on a sharp convex cone. And you have the same formula on Jean-Louis Cossul with Winberg in Russia. They have proved that you have a two form which is invariant by the automorphism of this cone. So you have a sharp convex cone, you have some automorphism acting on this cone, and you have a two form which is invariant under the action of this automorphism, and it is related to the Hessian, in the sense of derivation, of the log of what they call in the literature the Cossul-Winberg characteristic function. So the extension of Souriau is very simple because it is exactly the same thing, but now you will integrate on a manifold, and this manifold is a symplectic manifold. But you could observe that you preserve the Legendre transform. The Fisher metric is the Hessian of phi, the log of the Laplace transform, and but the nature of elements are different. Beta, which is the temperature, is an element of the Lie algebra. Q, which is the heat in thermodynamics, is an element of the dual Lie algebra. But you have the same relation, geometric relation. So by construction, Souriau has proved that this entropy is invariant under the action of the group. And also, we can prove that the Fisher metric is invariant under the action of the group. So it's we have seen previously that in information geometry, Rao tried to find a distance on a metric which is invariant by change of parametrization. Here, it's in fact Cossul was invariance with respect to automorphisms of the cone, and here it's invariance with respect to action of the group. So you have a very complex formula. I have no time to explain, but this is a geometric definition of Cossul, of Souriau, of what is a Fisher metric. In fact, for geometer, it is called KKS2 form, related to KKS2 form, but with an extension. So in the book of Souriau, you have two figures. You have this one. So what are these figures? Here you have a Lie group. You are on the Lie group. You have the neutral element, and you have one element of the group. Here you are in the Lie algebra. Beta, the temperature, is in the Lie algebra. The group acts on the Lie algebra. You have an operator which is called adjoint operator. And the heat depends on beta. So when the group acts on Q, which is an element of the dual Lie algebra, you have another operator which is called coadjoint operator. But what has discovered Souriau, you have not an equivariance. So when the group acts on beta, Q is transformed, but it's not equivariant. And you have an additional term that we could see here, which is the Souriau cocycle. And this is another figure of Souriau in the chapter 4 related to thermodynamics. So here you have the Lie algebra. here you have the dual Lie algebra. Here you have the characteristic function, which is a real function with respect to beta. And here you have the entropy, which is parameterized by Q. It is also a real function. You could see that the entropy is invariant under the action of the group. Here you have the action of the group on the Lie algebra. Here the action of the group on the dual Lie algebra. And phi is transformed, but S is invariant. But phi is transformed linearly with respect to beta. And as the Fisher metric is the Hessian of phi, it will be invariant. The Fisher metric will be invariant. But the question when I see that the first time was, oh, this is very fine because the entropy by construction is invariant. So to come back to classical thermodynamic, to recover the classical thermodynamic, you consider that you are in Euclidean space, and you consider that the group which is acting is only the time translation. And so the equation, you take this equation of Souriau, beta, the derivative of the entropy with respect to Q. In thermodynamic, beta is the inverse of temperature, what is called Planck temperature, sorry. And you could write beta is derivative of S with respect to Q as ds equal dq divided by T, and this is the classical Boltzmann-Clausius definition of entropy. So you recover the classical thermodynamic. But what is very interesting for us is that Souriau has also built a Gibbs density, which is covariant under the action of the group. And it's what we are looking for. We try to find what is a Gaussian for Lie group. And the idea is to use the definition of Gibbs density by Souriau, which is invariant under the action of the group. And so you take a group and you can bulk the Gauss density, which is associated to this group. Just to illustrate you, because we have, you take a Gaussian, you take the multivariate Gaussian. We take the habit of writing the multivariate Gaussian density like that. But this is a bad way to write it. In fact, you have to write it as a Gibbs density. So you have to consider, so when you read Souriau paper, it takes this structure. So it's very strange because here you have a vector and here you have a matrices. So you have Z on Z transpose. And the parametrization is not the mean on the covariance matrices. It's minus R1, R minus 1M, which is a vector, and 1/2 of the inverse of R, which is a matrices. So you have a strange structure. You have a vector on the matrices, but it gives you a Lie algebra, and you can define a duality bracket, and you can rewrite this multivariate Gauss density as a Gibbs density. So Souriau applies that for the Galileo group, and he finds what is the Gibbs density for a centrifuge, for example. So I take a picture of Bohr-Barat. You say no, it's not a plasma, it's not a plasma thermodynamic, quantum thermodynamic, but it is a Butter-Churn thermodynamic. You can make also enriched uranium with centrifuge, but you can make butter. And for example, if you take the book of Roger Balian, which was professor at Polytechnic during 20 years on statistical physics, which is a very popular book, he tried to resolve what is a Gibbs density for a centrifuge. So first, he takes what is invariant. So he has to add some hyperparameter of Lagrange to take into account that you have also an angular momentum. So the classical temperature for thermodynamic make also angular momentum. And Roger Balian said, the angular momentum is imparted to the gas when the molecule collide with the rotating walls, which change the Maxwell distribution at every point, shifting its origin. So the walls play the role of an angular momentum reservoir, and their motion is characterized by a certain angular velocity, and the angular velocities of the fluid and of the walls become equal at equilibrium, exactly like the equalization of the temperature through energy exchange. So classical classical temperature is related to energy equilibrium, but the other term of Souriau is related to angular momentum equilibrium. So with this geometry, you can define a Fisher metric. So you are in a metric space. So you can use a classical method of machine learning in a metric space, or you can define new statistic on Lie group and try to develop neural networks on this or Minsheaf or other technique. So I just I have overshooted my. So I will conclude. Yes, I will conclude with this topic. As I say, I have observed that the entropy is invariant under the action of the group. It's a strange invariance which has been extended by Souriau, but forget that. We observe that the entropy is invariant under the action of the group. And there is a close link, what is called in symplectic geometry and Poisson geometry, with a Casimir function, invariant Casimir function. This is also a property, what is called invariant Casimir function. So Casimir is not, when I was young, we have also Casimir, but it's not the same one. It was Hendrik Casimir, which was a student of Niels Bohr and Paul Ehrenfest. And you have, so what is the Casimir function is that the Poisson bracket, SH, is equal to 0 for each function h. So the entropy will verify this equation. So what does it mean? It means that you take a group, and in fact the entropy will be defined as a Casimir function associated to the Poisson structure of this group. So it's very interesting because we can try to build entropy with the symplectic geometry. Compared to classical Shannon entropy, which is more defined by axiomatically to verify some property. So you have to observe that this is a new definition of entropy. It is a covariant invariant function in a coadjoint representation. So to conclude, so you have new equations. So the book of Souriau is very difficult to understand because he uses his own notation. So we find a book with good notation, with modern notation, but in Chinese, what we call the Little Green Book of Jean-Louis Kozoul. And we convinced Kozoul on Springer to translate the book, which has been published last year, which is called Introduction to Symplectic Geometry, where you have, with modern notation, all the tools of Souriau. Bon, I will skip this slide. It uses an example for Poincaré disk, where you have a group acting on given you the Gaussian, what is the Gaussian density in a disk, but I have no time, so I just give you some last references. So since 2013, we try to structure the community in France. So the last conference we have organized is FGSI, Cartan Kozoul Souriau Foundation of Geometry Structure of Information in Montpellier. We have organized in 2017 Topological and Geometrical Structure of Information in CIRM. Last year, we have organized a workshop in Sao Paulo because Bourbaki member as Kozoul give lectures in Sao Paulo, in Brazil, and Kozoul give a lecture in French, exposé sur les espaces homogènes symétriques, where you have many tools which are explained in this lecture. And so last July, we have organized a seminar at École de Physique des Houches with physicists and mathematicians on the machine learning community. And you have a website on video, and you could find some references. And since 2013, we have launched a cycle of conference with Frank Nilsson, GSI, at École des Mines, École Polytechnique, and last year in Toulouse at ENAC, on Fabrice, on Professor Klein have organized a parallel workshop on information geometry. So I invite you to go to the website, which are active. Yes, So if you want to start on this topic, you have a very good book, a very old book by Paulette Lieberman and Charles-Michel Marle, Symplectic Geometry and Analytical Mechanics. So Charles-Michel Marle is 86 years old now, but last year he has published his lectures on géométrie symplectique et géométrie de Poisson. Some students at Polytechnic say me that they prefer to learn symplectic geometry in this book than in their polycopier of that time. So Charles-Michel Marle is very, it's an old-fashioned professor, and all the definitions are accurately defined. And also Professor Géry de Saxé, which has also written a very good book, Galilean Mechanics. And also on Poisson structure, you have a very good book of Kosman Schwarzbach on Poisson, on Camille Laurent Gengou. And I have published a paper on the what I call Jean-Louis Cauzoul on the elementary structure of information geometry in Springer. Okay, I think it's. I will stop here.
Thank you very much. Maybe we have time just for a remark or a question, because I think there is a workshop in Anity after. Someone want to ask a question or a comment?
I'll ask a question, Fabrice. Thank you very much. Very rich talk. So I'm in natural language processing, and there have been, so I guess what I'm missing a little bit from you is, so what has been the take home in various machine learning issues? So I'll give you two, and we're not quite sure why this works, but for example, there's Nickel and Doa Kila in 2017 used Poincaré embeddings for word representations. As you probably know, we have, even with handcrafted methods for word vector representations, we have a lot of trouble capturing hierarchical semantic relations, like is this word, is this a hyperonym or a hyponym of this other word? And these are crucial words to understanding lexical inference and inference in general. So to understand that cat is an animal, you need to know that cat is in fact a subtype of animal. And we've been unable to do this, but apparently with these hyperbolic encodings, that information is available. We don't know why, but it's there.
Yes. If you look at this literature, I discussed that with Fabrice. They are not using the good statistic in the disk, because they use exponential of minus geodesic distance, which is not the good one for many reasons. But for example, the moment are not preserved by the symmetries. And so if we succeed to couple the statistic of Souriau in the disk with NLP by hyperbolic embedding, I think it will be disruptive.
The other example I want to give you just very quickly is work by Eldon and Shamir on the expressive power of neural networks, comparing 2-layer and 3-layer networks. They actually used work on that group SO3 to do that. So that seems like an immediate payoff of algebraic structure in the learning architectures. And I was wondering if you could give us maybe one or two other examples, kind of like these examples.
Yes, you have also the community of Max Welling on Bakers in Netherlands. I think it's also related to equivariant convolutional neural network. So it's here you are looking, you try to use the symmetries to be equivariant. Classically, when you have a data set of images, to be robust, you move your images to be sure that you can observe the objects in different rotation, with different rotation. That you could add also translation. It should be robust to translation and rotation. And they have embedded this structure in the neural network. and so you just have to learn on the initial data set. You don't have to rotate your data set images to be robust. And so it will be adapted for trivial learning because you don't have to use generative network for additional data set. On what my colleague Pierre-Yves Lagrave has presented yesterday in GDR is that also it's more robust. Equivariant neural network, convolutional neural network are more robust because when you have contact with noise, it's local. And so with your symmetric equivariance, it will be more robust to this kind of attack.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe we can end here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much once more to Frédéric. Thank you so much. It was a very nice talk. And maybe good weekend to everybody. And I think there is another workshop now beginning in Anity and Deal.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you very much.